So let's talk for a second about the effective approaches on the pro-life side versus the ineffective approaches on the pro-life side. So you've spent an awful lot of time, an awful lot of money trying to reach out to people with pro-life messages. So you probably have some good information about what is effective and what is ineffective. Why don't we start with the ineffective? What's been the least effective approach that you think people use when it comes to moving people toward a pro-life position?
That's a good question. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of diversity. So I would say there are some really, not silver bullets, but there are some really strong arguments and approaches that work for a lot of people. But some people, it's interesting that even some of the lesser effective approaches in the pro-life movement still make a difference for some people. So I would never say, stop doing what you're doing out there. Anybody doing anything for life, lovingly, with compassion, I think is good. Whether it's very effective in my book or not, I mean, I'll choose my own strategies. So I know it's kind of like going around your question, but I would say anything that's angry or cruel, I don't think is effective, because you're dealing with people and a lot of wounded people. I mean, there are so many people who've been hurt by abortion. Women, men, abortions in their history, and they still are not even sure how to wrestle with it. They're not healed from it. Part of that is they haven't been able to acknowledge it was a life. It was their child that was killed. And so there's a lot of woundedness. So anytime that we get on our high horse, if we act with judgmentalism, or we're cruel or unkind in our approach, I think that can be very harmful and ineffective. So that's probably one of the least effective things I've seen in the movement. Thankfully, it's a fringe. Most people in the pro-life movement are very compassionate, and many of them are there because they actually have abortion in their families, or they were involved with an abortion themselves. So, and then as far as effective is concerned, when people actually learn about fetal development of life in the first trimester, I mean, from the early stages, and then they actually get to see that child, see that embryo, and then they get to understand what abortion actually does to that child. We launched a series at LiveAction called Abortion Procedures, which are medical animations narrated by a former abortionist. And he committed 1,200 abortions himself. He explains what happens during each procedure. These are the most common abortion procedures. And when people actually watch these videos, they're medical animations, so they're not gory, but they're correct, they're precise. This is what happens through an animation. People are just floored. I mean, it's amazing. We see people go from, I was pro-choice to, I guess I'm pro-life because I can't support that. So just something as simple as showing the child and how they're victimized by abortion. And then also storytelling, telling stories, women who choose life, women who walk out of that abortion clinic, they have the courage in the last moment, women who had the abortion and then regret it, and they share why. Stories of abortion survivors. They actually survived the abortion attempt on their life. Stories of women who chose life in really difficult circumstances. I mean, these stories are inspiring and encouraging to people. So that's a lot of the work that we do at LiveAction, is to tell those stories, as well as show the victim and show what abortion does.
Facts don't care about your feelings, and it's a fact that The Ben Shapiro Show is the largest conservative podcast in the nation. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and stay up to date on all of our content.